Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guest today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. We got a 2-for-1 episode today. We got a success story, which you know are my favorite episodes ever, to dive in and unpack a business owner's story of how they got here. And we're also going to learn some tips about maybe not an exciting topic, but I think it's exciting because our guest is doing it a little bit differently. And that's the impact of merchant services on your small business and how that can impact your growth. So we're going to see how this company is doing it way differently than the rest of the industry and why you should probably take some notes on what they're doing to grow your small business too. So I have an amazing guest with me today. His name is Jeff Maine. Before we go any further, Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Brandon, for having me. I'm looking forward to giving any bit of advice I can give to your guest.
I love it. We got to talking offline, and you're doing payment processing completely differently than the rest of the industry, as far as I'm aware, at least. And I've seen a thing or two, and I'm curious to hear first and foremost, because this is not one of those like sexy industries that people are just like, they wake up one day when they're 5 and like, I want to do payment processing when I get older.
Right.
What got you here in the first place?
You know, I was actually a college student studying finance, and had a friend in the industry that got a phone call one day, and they needed somebody to go out and run some sales calls for them because they had lost a salesperson. And so I started doing it at college that way. I got this phone call. They sent me this portfolio, and this is back in the mid 90s. So it kind of shows my age of how long I've been in the business. I think I'm on 25 years now, strong of being in the business and owning my own business. And so, you know, we got out, and when I was finishing college, I had the opportunity to go work in the consulting world of doing, one of the big major consulting companies that offered me a job. And I'll never forget, best advice of my life. My dad sat me down, and he was a corporate America guy. And he said, Jeff, you've always wanted to work for yourself, and you have the opportunity right now. You don't have a family. You're not married. You don't have responsibilities. Come live at home and start your own business, and just go for it. You can always go get that job. You know, that job will always be there. But go for it. And I took his advice and moved home and started my own business a summer out of college. And so, you go to college for all these years and you grow as a person. And then I started my own business. So, and I look back at that as great growth time, but that was great advice. And here I am. We've built 3 different processing companies that we've been a part of, and we built an ACH company that we've been a part of. And about 3.5 years ago, we had the opportunity. We were splitting out of a partnership that we were in, and we were sitting there at the dinner table talking with my wife about what's next. What are we going to do now? And we know the industry. We've been in it. We know how to be successful in it. We know how to grow businesses in it. And I told my wife, I said, you know what would be a lot of fun would be to start another payments company, but organically grow it. Don't just go out and invest a bunch of money and hire a bunch of people. Let's organically grow it. I want to get back into sales, get back meeting with merchants, and get back on the streets and understand what's going on in the industry. And you get to a point in life and in these businesses when they get successful as owners, you kind of sit in the office and you're not doing that stuff anymore. You're more big picture. And I said, I'd like to get back into that role a little bit. I kind of miss it, and just some energy. And she said, well, what's missing in the industry? What are these business owners missing? I said, the big thing in this industry is they just don't have clarity. You talk about it even in your intro about your podcast. And, clarity is so important in everything that we do. And payments, face it, I know it's a sore subject for a lot of people. They don't want to talk about it. But like you said, it's an exciting thing to talk about because it's such a big part of your business. The majority of businesses, 95% of your revenue or more is coming in on electronic payments today. So it's definitely something business owners want to talk about and look at and think about. And so we talked about like, hey, let's start a business and let's really dive in and let's learn the businesses of what they're doing and how they're doing it and offer better solutions and really be more of a consultative approach in their business. And then the second part of our mission we wanted to do is a give back. And that was just something that was important to my wife and I. We wanted to build a business with it in the DNA that we were giving back and supporting local causes through payments. And that's exactly what we're doing. And we're giving that credit to our business owners, because without them on our books, we would not be writing the check. So it's because of them. We're just the avenue that it's happening by. And so, but we're out there and we're meeting with merchants. We're not, we're giving them the clarity. This morning I had a great phone call conversation with a merchant that's looking at different point of sale systems. And their exact comment to me was, Jeff, we want to make sure whatever we do it with a point of sale system that you're integrated with, because we know as when our accounting department has a chargeback or they have a PCI question or they have this, and we call your office, your team answers the phone, they help us, they walk us through it, and we don't get that with anybody else. And that's the difference. We've gained that trust from our merchants because we actually do what we say we're doing, and that just doesn't happen every day today in today's business. So we're having fun, we're growing, and that's a little bit about us and how we've gotten to where we're at today.
That's such a cool story. I shake my head at that because it's like the bar is so low. Answer the phones, respond
So
to email.
yeah,
Continues to blow my mind.
right.
Like how little people expect of businesses these days, and we still drop the ball. But
Yeah, so
it
true.
sounds like you have the smartest business advisor ever in your wife, where she asks you the question, "What's missing in this
Yeah,
industry?" So you came up with this really cool solution to give back locally to
yeah.
charities and support your community, which I'm just going to put this out there. I think if more small businesses did that, the world would be a better place. So I love that you're doing that, especially in this
Mhm.
industry. But what is that? What has that done for you? Not from a PR and a marketing perspective, but what sort of doors has that opened up, and
Yeah.
what sort of impact has that had on your community?
Brady, you bring up a great point, and one of the things you said is, what if all the other businesses did what we're doing? I actually wrote a TEDx talk, and was not able to give it because of a conflict, but I wrote the whole talk about what if all businesses did what we're doing. Every nonprofit would be funded, and that money, I firmly believe, would roll right back into the economy, and our businesses wouldn't suffer a bit of revenue loss, because if we were all doing it, it's all rolling back in, it's happening, and all these nonprofits would be funded, and everything would just be going on autopilot. It would be amazing. And so I wrote a whole paper about that. It was really cool to do that. But I believe in our business, even our name, when we pay proudly, we wanted our business owners to pay proud, right? We wanted them to be proud about their payments. And what we found is clarity is super important in all businesses, but as soon as we touch on that and we say, hey, this is what we're going to do, they want to talk about our giving, and they want to talk about how we're going to give and who we're going to give to. And because face it, a lot of the people, everybody has a cause, right? We've all been affected by something. And so there's something that's important to us, but we don't all want to reach in our pocket and write that check. And so when I can do that for you, for your business, and give you credit for it, it makes you feel good about what you're doing and those fees when you pay them. It's that feel good feeling, right? Of, man, I'm making a difference because I'm using this payment processor. And when we're interviewing employees, we have employees that want to work for us because of our give back feature. I never in my wildest dreams dreamt that that would happen. But that's absolutely a huge part of our interview process now, because people want to be involved with companies that are doing what we're doing. And especially these younger generations, it's super important to them. And so it's just become really a huge part of who we are and what we do. And obviously we look for events to sponsor and do, and so that we get the branding out of it, because we want our business owners to see that we're not actually just saying we're doing it, that we're actually doing it. And so it's awesome, and we're having just great response from it.
I love it because you from a business owner perspective, a merchant perspective, you look at the end of the month, and if you're using Stripe or whatever, it's cool. 3% of my
Yeah,
fees went to what? An automated chat bot that I have to
yeah,
confusedly interact with versus no, it went to help the nonprofit who maybe is in the building next to me. That
Right.
to me is a way easier pill to swallow. Not even a pill to swallow. I'm happy to do it. And it
Right.
would even motivate me to like process more payments and grow my own business because I know that I'm helping and I can help in other ways. And
Yeah.
it's so cool when you say that no nonprofits would be underfunded. Everybody would be funded. You know who would be underfunded? The government. That's a
Yeah.
different episode. I'm
That's
also
right.
support of that.
We can talk about that for a long time too, but it won't be as much fun.
Oh man, maybe not for us. We'd end up in jail or canceled. So I
Yeah,
have to say now that this episode is for entertainment purposes only because
that's right. That's right.
it's the world we live in. But no, Jeff, this is a really really cool thing you're doing. But I also want to flip over to the merchant processing side
Mhm.
because that's obviously important. What are
Yeah.
some things that whether they're myths about the industry or
Yeah.
common questions that your clients have? What are some of those things around this industry that you just wish more people knew?
Yeah. I think the big things is people there's not a one size fits all in this industry, right? And I think if you go to your local bank or you go in to Sam's and you buy the square off the shelf, that's a one size fits all. And that works for a startup business and for somebody who's just getting out of the gates. And we refer people to that kind of solution for those type of businesses. But businesses grow and things change, and there's so many things going on in our industry from, can you charge a fee to take credit cards? Should you charge, or how do you do it? And can you surcharge? And can you do this? Or, what kind of point of sale system do I want to do all this different stuff? And there's so much going on that you can't expect people that are in other industries that are reselling our services that they can keep up with all the change. And this is what we focus on. It's all we do. But everybody's business is unique, and some businesses need to just set up their employees the ability to go out on the field and take credit cards from their cell phones. Some businesses need the ability to set their QuickBooks up when you send an invoice from QuickBooks for them to be able to give a cash price and a credit price, right? And do an ACH transaction or a credit card transaction. Some businesses need to set up their website to take credit cards. Some just need a machine on the counter. But there's different solutions for different businesses, and we need to know about your business. If you're talking to a merchant services company and they're not asking questions about what you do and how you do it, they're probably not the company that you should be processing payments with. So make sure that you're dealing with people that are actually taking the time to learn about your business and learn what the best solutions are for your business. Before you sign with a company and just start, it's expensive. You pay a lot of money. At the end of the year, it's a major line item on a lot of businesses. Is the fees that you pay to take, accept Visa, MasterCard.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's one of those things we've obviously accepted because it is what it is. There's always going to be a fee, and that's okay. They need to be there, but we don't tend to think about the cost. And by cost, I mean like you said, if someone's not asking those questions, if you're just going to Stripe and setting up an account, or you go to Staples and buy a Square machine, like you said, I mean, you're throwing money out the door.
That's
It
right.
is my personal experience with this. So I'm curious though on an ongoing basis because that
Yep.
that to me is more important. I've been on both sides of this with businesses in the past, my own personal businesses, where it's one of those things you kind of have and you forget about. And
Yeah.
when you're working with a small company like yours rather than a Stripe, I didn't hear from them, and I
Yeah.
didn't really understand where money was going, and then fees started to show up in my
Yeah.
account. What is this for? So, how
Yeah.
do you keep your customers educated? Because I think that to me is like that's the best way to retain
Yeah.
a customer is just
And
to continually educate them.
we send out quarterly emails. We're actually sending out an alert today, and it's about the Visa Mastercard settlement that's happening. Everybody's been in the news. It's been big, but so we take situations like that, and we put together notices, and we send it to our merchants as just, hey, you're hearing about this, but here's some clarity around it in our space, and here's what's going on, and here's some links that you can go read about it. if you want to participate in it, here's a link that you can participate in it. And we're not doing it to make any money. We don't want to make money on that stuff. We want our merchants, though, to be able to be informed to make good decisions. And so we're touching our merchants all the time. And we kind of have a company philosophy. We want to touch every single one of our merchants every quarter in some sort of fashion, right? Whether it's walking in the door, whether it's an email, whether it's a notice, whatever it is. And then we want to have a meeting with all of our merchants once a year that we actually analyze their rate with them. Because, I met with a merchant last month that was in the, like the weight loss arena, right? And they qualified because of the type of business that they have, that they could be doing some HSA cards. Well, they didn't know that. And so once we talked about that, we were able to change their SIT code to a SIT code that they could take these cards, and we enabled them for a whole new clientele that if we wouldn't have had that conversation, they wouldn't have known. So we brought clarity around that for them, right? Of being able to accept a form of payment that they did not think they were able to accept. They're super excited about it. It's a great benefit for them. And so those are the type of reasons, though, but that's also why we don't lose business, because somebody else didn't walk in the door and tell them something that we hadn't already told them. And so we want to be in front of all of that. But, it's something in credit card processing that you find is every year, a couple times a year, Visa, MasterCard, they come out, and it's not really them, it's the card issuing banks, but they come out with changes to interchange. Well, a lot of times processors use those moments in time to increase rates. And so you get rate creep in credit card processing severely. So if you've not looked at your payments in the last 3 or 4 years, when we walk into a new customer, they say, I haven't even looked at it 4 or 5 years. Got it. We're definitely going to be able to do you a lot of good, because things creep up, right? And so by us going back and looking at it, we can save quite a bit of money in rates and fees right out of the gate, and then offer new ways of payments that might even save more money. We've walked in offices where we've saved $10,000 a month in credit card fees. It's out there based on volume and what you're doing and how you're doing it. There's real money in savings that's available. Not to mention you being able to participate in our give back program.
I love that. What I heard you just say, though, was I don't want this to be overlooked, because people miss this, especially when they're thinking about sales and new business. You basically said, don't let your customers be surprised by another business.
That's right.
And I see that all the time. And I've been in a number of sales conversations where I'm the potential client or customer. And what the other person on the phone always wants to do is reveal something about the company you're working with that you didn't know, or the industry that they're providing a service in. And that's where they can hook you. So what you're saying is you are selling's a bad word, but you are continually educating your customers on what the service that you're providing them is. And that's why your attrition rate is so low. And more people need to do that. I just believe that's a beautiful principle.
You got to stay ahead of the competition. You have to. And you know what you're up against, because you're out selling at the same time for new business. So you know what you're selling against. And but like I said to you earlier, I think we take for granted our current customers too often, and we need to all do a better job of taking care of our current business that's supporting our business. And to me, that's important. That's easy. That's an easy game to play to keep your current business happy, if you just focus a little bit of time on it.
I love it. Jeff, you're playing a different level of business here, and I love it. I think more people should do it. There's so much to unpack here from this episode. I can't thank you enough for coming and sharing your journey, and then also shedding a light on payment processing too, because it's super important. I was thinking throughout this episode, I don't think I've accepted a check or cash in over a year in business. It's the market we live in, and it's definitely worth exploring for your business.
Yeah, and we're signing big retail businesses today that aren't doing cash even. So you're going to start seeing more and more of that. There's such an easy way of fraud there with cash, and so business owners are taking that out of employees' hands, and they're just saying everybody carries a credit card today. We all have Apple Pay on our phones. We all have Google Pay. We all have a ability to pay with a credit card now. and it's going to be more and more and more and more where you're just not going to see cash.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this episode. This is awesome. So I got one more question, and it's a question for a question. So we believe at What If that powerful questions get you powerful answers. This episode today, you could be fooled into thinking we were talking about payment processing. We really weren't. We were talking about how to grow a sustainable business.
Right.
So Jeff, I want to know what's that question, whether it's a question you've asked yourself over the years of growing businesses. Maybe it's a question that your business advisor, your brilliant wife has asked you.
Yeah.
What is that question you want the listener to walk away from this episode with in order to help them grow their business and get outside the box of their industry that they find themselves in?
Man, that's a good question. I wish I had some more time to think about that, but I think, really, are you, in my world, and we talked about it a little bit, is just the clarity piece. Are you providing the clarity around your product that you need to provide? And are you staying ahead of the competition? Are you giving your customer something that's truly different? And I think, we all, we're selling in a world of credit card processing. There's a lot of people that sell in credit card processing, but how am I truly being different than my competition? And what am I truly doing every day to make us stand out? And that's something we're always focusing on. And I truly believe that our mission writes it. We're providing clarity. I don't think it's providing our business, and we're giving back, and that doesn't happen in our business. And that's what we're doing to be different. And I think if every business needs that.
I love it. That's a beautiful question. Jeff, thanks so much for being here. I put your website on the screen. If you're watching or listening, it's down in the show notes below. You have a calculator on there, a free assessment to figure out how much you're
Yeah. So we've
spending
got
on credit card fees, right?
Yeah, we've got an AI tool that we can take your credit card statements and we can read them, and we can come back and give you effective rates of effectively what your business should be paying in credit card processing fees. And we can do that in minutes. So please reach out to us. Let us help you get some clarity around your payments. If you never do business with us, that's okay. If we provided you that clarity around what you're paying and what you should be paying, then we're all winning.
I love it. Jeff, clarity. That's one of the 3 C's
Yep.
we always talk about on this show. I absolutely love this. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, and look forward to talking to any of your guests that would like to talk.
Go check that out. Stop wasting money on credit card fees and invest with a company who's actually doing the right thing in the world and give it back. I love this. Payproudly.com. Wherever you are watching, listening, make sure you subscribe so you keep listening to Harmonious at Lunch every single day of the week. Yeah, it's a lot of this show, but our whole goal is to move your business forward and help you build a harmonious business so it's easier and way more fun to build your business. We'll see you tomorrow on the next episode of Harmonious.